and welcome to your great human adventure. I'm Dr. Michelle Peticolas, founder of Secrets of Life and Death and Second Chance Secrets, providing you with these short videos to help you to master your great human adventure by dealing with and combining the four superpowers of a great life. They are spirit, body, brain, and others. We're back again to talking about spirit, and I have a very interesting perspective to share with you about spirit. Now, spirit is who you really are, a spiritual being having a human adventure. And you have to, as you have this adventure, learn to navigate this three-dimensional plane by partnering with the body and mastering the mind so that the mind doesn't drive your body crazy. And a lot of the programming in your mind happened when you were a child and when you maybe were disconnected from spirit. Even slight things, like a mother who is cold or a mother who is too young and overwhelmed, can have an impact on an infant. Small traumas can really result in major issues later on in life. You don't have to be beaten up to have trauma. So these bodies have wounds. They have emotional energy that needs to be worked on. And oftentimes it takes your life to resolve these healing issues, these emotional issues. Now, spirituality is a wonderful thing to do. It helps to calm the body. It puts you in a different perspective about your life in the world so that you don't take it too seriously. But there is a dark side. It's called spiritual bypass. You can use spirituality to avoid dealing with emotional issues, just like you use workaholism or alcoholism or drug addiction or TV binging or eating. Yes, you can use spirituality in the same way if you don't pay attention. You need to deal with these traumas because they're part of your legacy. They're part of the gifts that you are given in this life to help you navigate this world and to share with other people what you have learned. So it's important to be living in this three-dimensional plane, not to bypass, to spend all of your time in high state. And when you stay in a high state, you don't have to work on those emotional issues because they recede. They're not so important because you're hanging out in a different place in your brain where the ego center is shut off. But when you come back into the world, it's still waiting for you. I had a personal experience with this when I first joined a spiritual community. My first husband had left me for another woman. It was very disturbing and devastating. When I went to the spiritual community, it was like I turned off a switch and I didn't feel the grief anymore. And I kept on doing this spirituality all the time. I spent all summer. I stayed through the extension. And then my teacher came to New York where I lived, and I did it all winter long. And I did this for 3 years in a row. Then I got involved with a man. And we were together for maybe about a year. And then he fell in love with somebody else and broke up with me. The floodgates opened. Suddenly, all that emotional wounding that had happened when my first husband abandoned me came to the surface. See, I had never dealt with that grief. I had just tamped it down. I had just avoided it. And that's what spiritual bypass can do. You can stay in that ecstatic state and not deal with your emotional issues. And there are plenty of spiritual teachers who are very high in the spiritual plane, but they're not very high in the psychological plane. So I encourage you to make sure to deal with all the superpowers in your life, to deal with the emotional part of your body's needs, to check in every day, to check in with your mind, to check in with your relationship with others. Spirit is important, but even my teacher said 50% spirit, 50% the world. And there's another saying that goes, trust in God, but tether your camel. You need to engage in this life. That's why you're here. That's it for today. Be brilliant.